I think about it from you just mentioned Diana, like in the league, because there's some stars going to the WNBA. I know on the NBA side, like those guys, those vets are just like, all right, come get it, young fella, right? When the college guys come out, they're waiting for them. I mean, Camilla's coming, Caitlin's coming. There's more than just that are coming. What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. Not saying that it's not going to translate, because when you're great at what you do, you're just going to get better. But there is going to be a transition period where you're going to have to give yourself some grace as a rookie. And, it might take a little bit longer for some people.
Over a month ago, Diana Taurasi made those comments about the rookies on their way to the WNBA. The media blew it up and made it seem like she was coming for Caitlin Clark. You had all the new fake WNBA fans and Caitlin stans coming for Diana's neck, calling her a hater when she was questioned about the incoming rookies, not just Caitlin. Her comments applied to all of them. As a 24-year vet, Diana knew what these women would face coming into the league and the work that will be ahead of them to get acclimated to that new level. And now, a week and a half after Caitlin Clark's debut, where she ended up setting a new turnover record in her first regular season game against the Connecticut Sun, Clark broke the WNBA all-time record for turnovers in a debut game. She had 10. Caitlin's team went on to lose that opener along with the next 4 games. And although Caitlin's performance and her team's performance is getting better, no one is going back and saying Taurasi was right.
Reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. Not saying that it's not going to translate, because when you're great at what you do, you're just going to get better. But there is going to be a transition period where you're going to have to give yourself some grace as a rookie.
Caitlin, slower start than you really got into it. What was your first impression of your first game in the W?
I thought it was physical. I don't know. Obviously, it wasn't like the best start in the first half for myself. Getting into foul trouble, and then you got to sit on the bench and try to come back into the game and get into a little bit of a flow. But obviously, too many turnovers. That's not going to get the job done. But
Caitlin herself admitted she's experiencing players that are faster and more physical than the NCAA. I mean, think about it. You had 36 women selected at the draft, and only 13 of them made the roster. So when it comes to women's basketball, you're definitely going to deal with competition. And I do believe that Caitlin Clark will get there. I just think that Diana is looking more like she was telling the truth these days versus hating. I don't know why people are acting like this is not exactly what she was explaining before. Now look around, Caitlin's team is down 0-5. That's horrible, by the way. They're still struggling to win their first game, and nobody's telling the truth about what's really going on. Instead, the conversation continues to be redirected to focus on controversy, creating fake beef, and animosity towards Caitlin and other WNBA players. The highlight everywhere, the story that's being written, is Black women are jealous of Caitlin Clark, and they're trying to make it seem like it's WNBA players that are jealous. And I believe ridiculous and illogical people like Jamel Hill and even Sunny from The View, they're the ones helping with this narrative. They think they're helping Black women and speaking up for them in the WNBA, when really they're only putting targets on those same Black women, coming off with this attitude of it's not fair that Caitlin is getting attention, she's only getting it because she's white. And it's crazy because that narrative they're creating is what's being pushed in the media instead of speaking on how Caitlin is losing. And let's be clear, those Black women are not WNBA players. It's the women outside of the WNBA that's calling themselves advocating for them in the name of supporting Black women, like Jamel and Sunny and all the new so-called fans on social media. And they're the ones that's really destroying this opportunity for the WNBA.
Look, I've been a basketball fan since I can remember. I played basketball with my dad in Harlem when I was 5 years old. So I remember loving the game, and the game not necessarily loving women back.
Know that when Sunny is talking about the game, she's referring to men. And what she's projecting isn't true because it's been men in the NBA that's been subsidizing the WNBA since its inception. They never turned a profit, and quiet as it's kept, even with this very popular draft class, I still don't think they're gonna get there anytime soon. They will have to start getting a lot of support from women. And I'm not just talking about whining and complaining on social media, running their mouths. I'm talking about real support with their purses.
Right?
At all.
At all. And the WNBA started in 1996. First games played in 1997. It's 2024, and we're just really now talking about it. And so if Caitlin Clark is the vehicle that will bring this sport that I have loved so much and so long to little 5-year-old girls playing in Harlem, I say yes, bravo. I have no problem with that. With that being said, I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege. There is a thing called white privilege. There is a thing called tall privilege. And we have to acknowledge that. And so the part of it is about race, because if you think about the Brittany Griners of the world, you know, why did she have to go to play in Russia?
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay, not because she was
league.
black, but because they didn't believe in the WNBA.
This is part.
And still, it wasn't about them not believing in them. The numbers don't lie. In terms of business, the league, they've been failing for decades. And we all know any other business that's losing millions of dollars per year, they would have been closed their doors. So I would say the NBA cared enough to support this charity league for so long.
Part of my point. So now, you know, Caitlin Clark is bringing this money, these sponsorships, we hope, into the league, and other players will benefit from it. But I do think that she is more relatable to more people because she's white, because she's attractive. And unfortunately, there still is that stigma of against the LGBTQ plus community. 70% of the WNBA is black. A third of the players are in the LGBTQ plus community. And we have to do something about that stigma in this country. I think that people have a problem with basketball playing women that are lesbians. Who cares? They are great athletes.
Well, you can't tell a lesbian unless you tell you she's a lesbian.
Well,
It's not like you look over and go, oh, there's one.
you don't know. They're pretty open in the league, and I'm happy that they're open in the league.
Yes, but
Sonny, please just stop it. I think all of this talk about people hating on Caitlin is not helping at all. Folks like Sonny complaining, and then the constant internet stands going back and forth. I really think it's people in the media keeping all of this up. Listen, it's not Caitlin's fault that she's getting attention. At the end of the day, she was the #1 draft pick. She's supposed to get a lot of attention. But instead of focusing on the game, every single headline is everybody's hating on Caitlin. And then people like Sonny, they're the ones validating this narrative. They don't realize they're allowing themselves to become the villain here versus Caitlin, which again, it may be able to keep some of those same new viewers' attention and keep us away from speaking about basketball. That's how you don't see that many headlines about how Caitlin played 5 games so far and she's got 0 wins. No one is getting into those conversations because they're basically distracted with these silly arguments about Caitlin being white. At the end of the day, whatever attention Caitlin is bringing to the league, it's going to help everyone involved. It's going to help them get better accommodations, more deals, more money. So if you're really advocating for that, you should be excited about that. But something tells me they're going to fumble this opportunity and no one will care about any of this a season or 2 from now. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Let me know what you think about this below. Shout out to Charles B and Terex. I appreciate you all for your support. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.